people to come back over. Oh, that really stinks. Okay, so lovely. Okay. Sounds better. Okay, I'm like, I'm gonna wait to see if people can catch up and find this. And now there's not going to be, oh my goodness. Okay, I can see it. Hello again. All right, hopefully everybody will find their way back over here. And I will just have to update the description after. But you know, this is that's what happens. It's my very first time streaming from the phone. And yeah. So that link that everybody had is not going to work to get them here. Oh boy. I don't know. I'll have to see if Joseph finds his way over here. And maybe Joseph can copy this link and put it in the comments of the other stream. Okay, sounds so much better. Excellent. All right, so yeah, what I was saying is we're going to be using the Meeden paper today. And we are going to be swatching. So this is that's still the old branding, but it's one of the last pads I think I have with the old branding. I shared last week, they just sent me new paper. So I'm all restocked and ready to go. Hi, WV Karen. So yeah, all the links, if I tell you, thank you. Joseph is here. Joseph, can you do me a huge favor? Would you be able to copy the link to this stream and post it in the comments of the old one? Normally, if I was streaming from my streaming software on my computer, I would have just refreshed my stream. And I think the reason some of you couldn't hear me was because I unplugged the external microphone that I was hoping I was going to be able to use to make sure that the audio sounded the same as when I'm on my computer. Unfortunately, you couldn't hear me well. So yeah, and then I didn't know if you just needed to refresh on your end or if I had to start a whole new stream because it wasn't bringing it in. I could find nothing on my phone for how to fix that problem. So 32 colors, the Copycat. This was a palette that I found at an antique store or antiques mall here in Maine. It is in amazing condition. Like it is in such great condition for being made in 1930. And the pans, I mean, I can see that whoever owned this, I know exactly what colors they loved in their palette because I can see some that were actually, used a bit. And then there's some others that don't even look like they ever touched them. Like this violet doesn't even look like a brush has ever messed up that surface. But we're going to do that. We're going to do that today. We're going to test all of these colors and we are going to swatch them out. So before the stream, I went ahead and made up this little swatch card, wrote down the colors so I would be able to read them better. My handwriting is sloppy because I literally did it just before I went live in the other stream the first time. Oh, thank you, Lindsay says. It sounds great now. Talk about stressful. First off, just the stress of me having to go live this way in the first place, and I will get into that as I go along. But I had to light my candle today because, yeah, I just needed a little relaxing. It's a vanilla scented candle, which I like, and yeah. I'm going to be using my new Meeden, the Meeden Professional Watercolor brushes. I shared these with you last week. We talked about them. I'm going to give this palette a little spritz because, 1930, she's old. She's really dried out, and we're just gonna see if we can't wake these up a little bit. So today I plan to swatch them, and then we'll see how they work on some cotton paper. Can we still paint with them? 95 years old. You know, when 95 years old I become, hopefully I will still be able to paint. Hopefully these will be able to paint as well. Okay, so I will let you know what the colors are. Clearly I have no pigment information on these, and we're just having fun today. I needed to have fun. I really just needed to have fun. The other Tara asked a great question, and I can't put your questions up on screen today. I am sorry, because again, I'm not on my computer. But the other Tara asked, how do you know they're from the 1930s? And the answer is I looked them up. I did a search. So first I did a like a search with the photo of the palette to see if I could find others like it. And that led me down a rabbit hole where I found some information on them. And unfortunately, as I explained to you what's been going on, you'll probably understand, hopefully you'll understand why I don't have all that information handy today. But they were made in the 1930s, and they were made for students to use. And gosh, the 1930s, drop in the chat. Famous artists that were still alive in the 1930s. Let's see, light yellow. Off the top of my head, I can't tell you. I don't have that information. Again, I was not able to be as prepared as I normally would have, just because of everything that's been going on this week. It's been a stressful week, let me tell you. There's our light yellow. Let's go, we'll go down and we'll work our way this way. Although I think they have them pretty much in a really nice, like the order that they've organized these in, I really like it. Let's just go in order across. So we have medium yellow. Look at these, 95 years, a little water, and they just wake up and say, hello, paint with me. Those don't look too different from each other, do they? On the swatch card, that is. And this swatch card is a piece of the Be Inspired. It's a cellulose paper. And apparently, the pen that I use to write this down is a zebra fountain pen. Not waterproof. I don't use that for line and wash. It just happened to be what was handy. And so I thought, oh, I'll just write those down real quick. Yeah. Then we have dark yellow. Now this tin did have, or does have, the an AP seal on it. It says 12 mixing pans and brush. The brush was not still with it. I'm not surprised, but the brush was not still with it. Could you imagine if it was? And this is made by the American Crayon Company, Sandusky, Ohio, New York. Made in the USA. So that was another way, the other Tara, to be able to answer that question. That information is here on the tin, and I could still read it very clearly. So that's what I looked up, was the American Crayon Company. Sandusky, Ohio, New York, made in USA. So that really is like odd to me, because it's like Sandusky, Ohio, New York. I don't know. I was like, Sandusky, Ohio, but then it said New York. So I'm like, well, are they made in New York or are they made in Ohio? I don't know, but they are made in the USA, or they were made in the USA. So we have the dark yellow. Next we have orange, and these, you know, some look a little dirty, a little grubby, and that's okay for our swatch. This will help us get them all cleaned up. Look at that orange. Ooh, that is a pretty orange. That is really pretty. I like that. And I will bring the swatch card close up to the camera after, so that you can get a better look at all of these. 95-year-old watercolors. So, you know, that makes me feel good about my little hoarded collection here. Vermilion. I don't think my watercolors are going to expire or go bad. I bet that makes Lindsay feel good too about her watercolor collection. She has a big water. Mine pales in comparison to hers. This one, I'm going to just kind of get this off on a piece of scrap paper because some of this Prussian blue is up into that color, and I don't want that to kind of contaminate our swatching. So I'm just going to clean this off a little bit. There we go. So this one says flesh. That is the color name. Again, I have to apologize. I'm going to be casting weird shadows, I think, and we're going to have to stream this way, and I promise you I will learn it. It will get better, and maybe it will make things better and more interesting in the long run. This is Carmine, but just to kind of share a little bit of what is going on, I am here out of sheer determination. I was like, I just got back after summer and my break and all of that, and I decided I was going to, after the stream last Thursday, I was like, oh, I am going to reset and do some fall cleaning in this studio. This is dark red. Oh, that looks like a PR 101. I have no idea the pigments of these. I'm just telling you a best guess. And I wanted to be able to Zoom Saturday afternoon and open up a Zoom for patrons and channel members to be able to drop in on. This is light red. And now that one looks like it might have some opacity to it. I didn't put a black line because, I mean, these are not something I could see myself painting with on a regular basis. So I wasn't too worried about, how opaque or transparent would they be. Next up, we have magenta. So anyway, Saturday, I wanted to be able to start a Zoom call and let patrons and channel members jump in and kind of say hi and show you guys what I was doing with rearranging and organizing stuff in the studio. And these last two feel like they might have some white mixed into them. So anyways, I turned on my computer Saturday morning when I came in here with my coffee to clean because I was going to put on my favorite Saturday morning YouTube program and listen to some Sat Chat while I cleaned. And I turned my computer on, and all of a sudden, my computer, the fan made a very scary noise and it instantly shut down. This is red violet. That is a really pretty color. And I was like, okay, so I shut it down and restarted it and just thought, maybe it just had a little hiccup. That can happen sometimes. And no, long story short is it was more than a hiccup. And very long story short, right now I had to go through a complete reset on that computer and attempt to reinstall my operating system, and the operating system will not reinstall. So right now I have no computer, and everything that I have found out in talking to Apple is that it's looking more and more like the only answer is I'm going to have to replace the computer. And if you're an Apple user, you know that normally all the new Apples come out in September, which I think is funny because just like the real apple, ooh, that looks like a dioxazine purple right there. That's a nice deep violet. That is pretty. So anyways, normally the apples all come out in September, just like in real life on the trees, which I think is funny. I always remember September is apple picking season. That's when like the new phones come out and the new iPads and the new Macs. And so anyways, this year, of course, the new iPads and the new Macs were delayed. Something with the chips. I don't know. I'm not. This is Prussian blue. Really looks more like a peacock blue versus a Prussian blue, but that's what they were calling it then. So anyhow, Lindsay says your computer didn't like Sat Chat. Well, I do. um so anyhow, the there's a problem. I believe it was a delay with the chips that they use. And so the iPads and the MacBooks and the Mac, like desktop versions of the Macs for the new year. This is neutral blue. They're not being, they weren't released yet. And I can buy one. It would be this past year's model, which means, I mean, if any of you are Apple Mac users, you know the price involved there. This is sky blue. This is a really pretty, this almost looks like an ultramarine, this one. And I'm seeing some really pretty granulation happening in that neutral blue. Again, I will bring that up to the screen. It almost looks like an endanthrine blue. Anyhow, so the price involved, right? This is going to be a big expense, especially the computer that I built for doing what I do here on YouTube. And yeah, light blue. It almost looks like a cerulean blue, again, mixed with like a white. So if I buy one now, because I need a computer now, I'm gonna have last year's model. And that is going to shorten its longevity by a year. If I wait however much time for the new ones to drop, whether that be next week or 3 months from now, that computer is going to have the new chip and it's going to last me at least a year longer than the ones that are currently out from last year. So I just can't see. This is a yellow green. That's very, very light, very transparent. I just can't see buying one until the new ones come out, not for the amount of money that it is going to cost. So for now, I have an iPad, I have an iPhone, and that's what we're going to have to use to stream. One of my options is to get the new iPad Pro as soon as it comes out, because I have an iPad Pro, but it is older. This is light green. I don't know if I said that already. Anyways, it is older. It is not capable of downloading my editing software. A new MacBook Pro would now be able to, they now have an app for it where I could download my editing software. And at least then I could continue to make videos, like regular videos, because I could just edit on that. It's not ideal, but I think it can be done. So those, I believe, are supposed to drop in October. If they do, my plan is to pick up a new iPad Pro and use it for my editing needs until the new Macs come out and I can replace my computer and get back to using my normal streaming software and do everything the way we've always done it. So I just ask for your patience and your support and bear with me as we kind of go through this transition. So that was moss green. Now this one says medium green. And this kind of looks like almost like a phthalo green, again, with some white in it. This yellow green looks like it could be like a PY 129, possibly. Don't know. Again, there's no pigment information on these. I'm just guessing. I'm just telling you what it looks like to my eyes. This one is called dark green. Looks very similar to our medium green. Almost like, that's almost like Viridian like, and this I think leans a little bit more, or vice versa. They're like a Viridian phthalo green type color. Then we have emerald green, and emerald green, just looking at it in the pan, that absolutely looks like it's going to have some sort of white mixed in there. But yeah, and a huge thank you to all of you who have been supporting the channel, whether it be through memberships, through Patreon, through super chats, or super thanks on videos. I have, because that computer costs so darn much, I have been saving. So I have been saving all of those things to help me be able to afford its replacement, because I mean, it is 6 years old. I was hoping to get at least 2 more years out of it, but she is 6 years old, and this is royal blue. Ooh, look at that. There's our ultramarine looking color right there for sure. So yeah, while it's not going to completely allow me to afford its replacement, it is a huge help. So thank you to everybody that has done that. Membership, become a patron, dropped a super chat, super thanks. That's what I save those for equipment upgrades, and I greatly appreciate you and all of your support. There's light orange. And the other Tara says, hopefully not actual emerald green. I think that is toxic. I have no idea, but I'm not going to be licking my paint, that's for sure. So I think I'm safe. I'm not going to be like scratching the dried paint and sniffing it either. So it's not scratch and sniff. So hopefully I'm fine. But I have no idea. I don't know what these are, but these were made for like, from what I had read back when I got it, this is light tan. These were like a student grade paint. So I would think these are most likely a non-toxic. And they do have that, oh, let's see, the certification on the front. I have my glasses. It's hard to even see that. I wonder if the camera will pick it up better than my glasses can. See like the AP down there? I don't know if that's going to focus. Wow. I don't even know if you guys can read it. My eyes certainly cannot. But yeah. I don't think there's any toxic colors in these. I really don't. Next up, we have dark tan. And I've been sharing that saga of what's going on over on Discord. So if you are a patron or channel member, if you're not yet connected to Discord, that is like one of the best perks. I really encourage you to connect over there, because I am always putting like behind the scenes stuff and what's going on, and you're going to hear it there first. Yeah, Kelly says, I would still be careful touching the pigments. Yeah, I mean, they are from 1930. I mean, let's think about that. There was lots of stuff that we had and did in 1930 that was safe for us, right? Looking at you, Marlboro. And that we now know is not so safe and not so good for us. So I would imagine that this is probably going to be the only time I'm going to paint with these. This is Dutch Brown. This looks like it's probably definitely like a PBR 7. I'm seeing granulation in there. I love that these are actually giving me some granulation. I see that this, like, I can just see this being a display piece versus something I would use. But I did ask you guys if you were interested in seeing these swatched out, and there was a lot of interest. So with all the chaos that happened this week, I mean, I've tried from Saturday through, I think yesterday I finally gave up and was like, I'm done. I can't give this computer another minute, let alone hours of my time. So that's Bismarck Brown. Next we have Gray. I'm still going to give the Apple Store a call. The closest Apple Store is like, I live in rural Maine. There's nothing close to where I live. And the closest Apple Store is like 3 hours from me. So I'm going to call down, explain to them what's happening, and see if they think I could bring it in and they could connect to it and try to reload its operating system. If I had another Mac that I could use, and my old Mac still turns on. Guys, that Mac is like 16 years old or so. It still comes on and it still works. I'm going to be careful not to go over that line because again, that black line was not waterproof. So we're really not going to see much of from that white. And just drop it over here. But because it's so old, I can't use it to download from the App Store a bootable file to an external and then use that to load. And I don't know anybody else anywhere near me that has a Mac. So, yeah. If I knew someone that had one that was 2019 or newer, I would be able to do that. So hopefully the Apple Store will be able to do it for me, but I don't know. I got to give them a call. Hi, Shanna. Okay. Hi, Rob. Yeah, eyes on the road, pal. Okay. Here we go. So I'll keep updating you with the whole computer saga as it unfolds. But for now, we're just going to be going live from the iPhone. And, you know, so far I'm like, I'm really not minding the picture quality that I'm seeing. I hope it's looking good on your end. And I don't know, even once I get the new one, it might just have to be an upgrade for the camera and use this. All right, but I'd have control with the computer, so it would be like it used to be as far as controlling scenes, and I could change scenes. Yeah, there's no scene. It's one scene today. That's it. So there's our colors. 1930s watercolors. 1930s. Look at that. Just a little bit of water and woke them up. I hope when 95 years old I become, it only takes a little bit of water to wake me up. That's amazing. I knew that I knew. I was 99% sure that I was going to have no problem swatching these for you today. But I hadn't tried them since I got them. And look at, we are getting a little bit of, like, you see the granulation coming in the neutral blue and the sky blue. And then down here in that Dutch brown, there's a little bit there showing up. They are very bright still. And Boo Peep says, from a crayon factory company, these look great. Yeah, that was the name of it. It was the American Crayon Company. It says Sandusky, Ohio, New York, made in the USA. So if you want more information on those, you can look that up. The American Crayon Company Copycat Paint Box. And that's spelled with the K, Copycat. All right, let's see how these paint. Let's just do something fun and whimsy. I'm gonna just stick these over here beyond my, move my candle out of the way. There we go. So yeah, I was very stressed today. Was I going to be able to stream? Would I be able to make it work? I had no idea. Actually, I think I need to now move my palette. I'm going to swap that. Let you see what the colors are up here. And I'm going to put my palette off to the side. I forgot. Do I have one? I forgot to grab a porcelain palette. I still have a lot of things moved out to the other room from when I was starting to rearrange the studio. I have a plate here. I have a couple. I think I'm just going to give this a spritz and clean off some of that old paint so that I can mix on that. I don't want to mix in the lid of this. So that's what we're going to do. Once I get the studio finished, if you guys are interested, I'll have to give you a new updated studio tour. It's been a while. I have a lot of things are the same, but there's some stuff that's different too. So if that's something you're interested in, certainly drop me a comment. Let me know. This is just a plate from the dollar store that I'm using, that I'm mixing on. Not one that would ever see my kitchen again. And actually, it was purchased for the studio. It was never in my kitchen to start with. There we go. There's a little bit of metallic on here. I don't even remember what that was, but we're going to mix on this. All right. I think the candle needs to completely move. Just pop that down there. I don't usually have candlelit on the channel, but I'll tell you, I just really needed that relaxing atmosphere today because I was so stressed. All right. Now, what are we going to paint? That's the question. Again, I have my medium brushes. Now, everything was linked in the description below. It was. But when I had the problem with the stream and I had to restart a new one, that's all gone. However, as soon as the stream is done, I will copy and paste it in the description of this one, and I will just get rid of the other stream. The, minute or so that we were over there. And then you'll have links. Like for the medium paper, obviously I can't link to the palette because they don't make that anymore. But the medium brushes, these I do have a discount code from Meeden, and they were linked in the description below. As well as, have you guys heard, if you're following me on Facebook, or if you're on the Discord, or Patreon, I have posted it everywhere, that if you're in, I think I even posted it in the Exploring Art group that we have on Facebook, that Blick is doing a liquidation. When Blick bought out McPherson's, all of that stock, the overstock, they're liquidating it. And you can get some great deals right now. I know that I got a couple orders in yesterday. And I mean, I got like 10 sheets of 22 by 30 Arch cold press watercolor paper for like $6 and some change for 10 sheets. $6. You can't beat that. Like, you just can't. I ordered a bunch of paper. I had a couple Posca pastels, and I'm trying to decide what I want to do here. Let's just see how we can drop some colors in if they move. And I wasn't expecting them to take off too much, but so I had some of the Posca pastels. I had like 2 colors. Well, they have them in that sale, and they are You have to forgive me for a moment. The brain can't think what colors it wants to pick and talk at the same time, apparently. So anyways, they have those. There's 24 colors. They have them open stock. So I picked up the other colors. All the other colors I didn't have. And it was like $17 and change. I think you could pick up the whole set for like 19 bucks. So yeah, definitely worth checking out. I had that linked in the description. As soon as the stream is done, I will link it again. Let's see, that's not blending too much on the paper. Again, I did not have any high expectations for these. At best, I figured they were student grade paints. When they were originally put out. Let's go to the dark yellow. I'm loving these medium brushes. I will say that. I need to paint with them some more, but yeah, so far I am loving them. Joseph says, they're not very swooshy, huh? No, they're definitely not. Core, these are not. And let me see if I can remember what I did and work my way backwards here. We'll have some water. All right. When all else fails, I paint water. If I need a comfort spot, I paint water. Do you guys have something that you paint that's like a soothing, comforting subject matter? It's definitely water for me. Ooh, that was strong, that one. Betsy Paint says, I'm using my palette for my Neo Art 1609. I saw your comment last week when I shared this, and I was like, that is fantastic. So she took the paint, this part out, and this is metal. This is not plastic. You know, back in the 1930s when quality of craftsmanship was actually important. And yeah, this is metal. And so she took this out and she put her Neo colors in. And if we look, oh, you must have them this way. Like, cause they don't fit that way unless yours are much more loved and not as long as mine. But you could fit two rows, however much across. So that's great. I love to see like items repurposed. I used my, you guys have seen it, my palette that is the, my Schminke Haze set of watercolors came in, and I used that for creating a watercolor palette for plein air. There's something on my paper there. I got something there too. I don't know what I got on it. Come on. Chase it all over the place. But I just love that palette. Get some little reflection like the water here. All right, so I need this to dry. We'll put something on top of that. There's our background. Sometimes it feels great not to have a plan, just to start dropping paint on the paper and see where it takes you. Okay. Oh, you said the Neo Art. Yes, the Neo Art are smaller. Yeah. I don't know. You said Neo Art. I read Neo Art, and then I picked up Neo Color. I don't have the Neo Art. Let's see if we can put in. This is still wet, so I'm guessing it will spread a bit. I want something really far in the distance. I'm using that light blue and just dropping it in where the yellow and orange are. And if it goes, if it gets neutralized, like, I'm fine with that. That does not bother me one bit. Right? Because here I'm painting like trees in the distance. Um, Maybe we'll have like some distant like mountains or hills back here. And I'm going to prop this up so that my paint and water can run down. And hopefully that you'll still be able to see that just fine. And I'm not worrying about filling every space in. Let there be some gaps. All right. So none of these greens look like a green that I'm really excited to paint some distant trees in. Let's see if we can mix one up. Take the light green. I can say they're vibrant. Some of these are really vibrant. The pigment loads, though, are not, just not quite there. But again, I think we're dealing with something of the time that would have been a student grade. This is the dark red. We're just going to bring some of that in, neutralize that green. And then let's cool it off a little bit. Because I want these to be in the distance too. Adding some of that sky blue in it. And the papers are still very much wet. And it's kind of warped and rippled. I don't know if that's translating on camera, but it is really kind of warped and rippled, but it's all right. It will dry flat. I have not had any problems with my medium paper returning flat if I leave it on the block. This one that's been on there, I mean, that was there for quite some time, and you see, like, that was nice and flat when I just took that off. We're just going to imply that there's a bunch of trees back there. Just see if we can't soften up the edge. Now, yes, thank you, Bo Peep. Bo Peep says, with the holidays coming soon, remember she has discount links for Walmart, Amazon, for regular shopping too, not just art items, to help her channel and help me replace that computer. It was exactly where that kind of stuff is going to go to for right now. But yes, there are links to all of those things. That should actually be in the description now because I think those auto populate. Just the stuff specific to what I'm doing today isn't in there, but I will move that over and get it in there as soon as the stream is done. It's just because I had to restart that it's not there now. Because it was there in the original stream, it was there. Just mixing up some more green, cooling it off. Can give this a spritz. I don't have to be exact. I could have started with like that mountain in the background, but that's fine. There's no reference photo today. We're just de-stressing with just some paint on paper. Just playing. Just mimicking a little bit of what I'm seeing in the top. Really enjoying these new medium brushes for sure. All right, now I definitely want that to dry. So I have no idea. If you are watching with earbuds in, please be careful. I'm about to turn on my heat tool. I do not know if my iPhone will cancel this out. So Yeah. We're going to give that a go. Actually, I think I can mute my mic. Let me do that. As I'm doing this, I'm seeing I might want a little bit more green in a few spots. So we're just going to tap that in. And we're just seeing where this one's going to take us. All right, I'm going to try again. If anybody has any questions or comments they want me to see, this is a great time to pop them in the chat because I will be looking at that while I am drying this. Dolphin Soul said, was watching the candle, the flame flicker as I was using that heat tool. Yeah, I saw it I saw it flicker too, and I was like, oh, all right, let's not blow towards the flame there. All right, now we need a foreground. We need a scene on this. So I don't know what we're gonna do, but let's see. How about let's put some land in over here. Move this so that I can see my colors there. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think these were used very much at all by their original owner. That's sad, but I'm happy to have them and be able to display them here in the studio. Again, I don't see me painting with these on a regular basis, but it is something that a lot of people commented and said, I want to see those. So here we are. All right, let's have some land come in about here. Yeah. It is raining here today. Seems like we've gotten hardly any rain. Well, we are in drought conditions, but it seems like we've gotten like hardly any rain all summer, which has been wonderful for us for plein air, because we can get out there and paint. But yeah, not so much for everything else outdoors that needs the water. But it is raining today, and I can hear it just kind of hitting on the roof out there. There's like a covered porch just outside my studio window. I can just hear it. It's adding to that relaxing atmosphere, which I really needed today. Dolphin Soul said, silhouette of a boat with someone fishing. Bill says a paddle boat. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see what we get. All right. Let's grab some of this yellow green. This one really does not have a lot of pigment to it. Or, well, it's very transparent. It's very light. It doesn't have, I don't think it has a lot of mixing strength. But I'm going to bring that in with the light green. I might need to just work on mixing my own green. So I'm not going to get quite what I want. With that light yellow that I had in my sky. Grab some of this neutral blue. I never mix enough either. Do you guys do that? Like, I'll go to mix a color, I won't mix enough, and it's like, okay, now I have to try to mix that again. What did I use? Usually I can get myself there. I'll pull in a little bit of that carmine. Kind of neutralize this and get something that looks like it could be growing in nature. I mean, that really bright green could be springtime, but you know, it's definitely not springtime here. Our leaves are changing so fast. So many colors already. Definitely not opaque. I should have started with my green and just threw some brown in where I might want it, but it is what it is. Just having some fun. I have been through all the stages of grief, I think, over that computer this week. I definitely went through denial. I went through anger. We're moving into acceptance. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And Lindsay suggested just use my iPhone and go ahead and stream. And I'm glad I did because I needed this. All right, let's see. Take some of this neutral blue and see if we can't make that water look more like water. if we can glaze some of this on here. I think that's still a little too light. Poopy says, "Thank you, Lindsay. We all appreciate it." I wasn't sure. I sent them a message. We have a group chat, and I sent them a message earlier today. I'm like, okay, who's used their phone to live stream? So I wasn't even sure how do I do this? Like, where do I access this? But clearly we've got it figured out. So it can only get better from here. Okay. All of a sudden my printer decided it wanted to come on and warm up. I have no idea why or how, but it did. I don't know if you guys heard that. I don't know if the phone picked it up or not, but that's what that was. There we go. We're starting to look like water. You were seeing me hesitating there, thinking like, hey, I want a shoreline put in over here. How do I want that? So this is the one round. So let's look at what we can get as far as like a nice, I don't think we really would see, I don't think we would necessarily see a dark line. Look at that. I love these brushes. Loving these brushes, very much so. I have some white on my palette, and I have a feeling, what you guys can't really see it, but over here, I have a feeling this was gouache. I think it was. I'm gonna try to reactivate it and see. There's a little something else mixed in there, but it doesn't matter. It's fine. I do have some bleed proof white over here. I could grab that, but I'm just gonna use what I have out. I'm got no designs that I am creating a masterpiece today. Just enjoying being back and hanging out. And Boo Peep says yes. It sounded like a police siren. That's so funny. Yeah, that was my laser printer just all of a sudden deciding, hey, I'm gonna warm up and do something. I don't know. I was trying to get that because my computer's down, obviously. My computer's like non-existent at this point. I'm just putting in some white here, just with that dark to represent the shoreline. But I had to print something after the computer went down, and I was like, well, my one printer, because I have more than one printer in the studio, my laser just does black and white. It's what I usually use if I need to just print something quickly. Like if I'm doing line work that I have to transfer, I'll just do that on the laser printer. I was hoping that that printer was going to accept like watercolor paper, so that I could like print line work or something on like a card, you know? Yeah, it doesn't. It was like, no, I can't handle that. But it was, gosh, I think we got it. There was a doctor who was retiring and he was in closing down his office. Like he sold off some equipment and I ended up with like 2 laser printers from that. So yeah, I really enjoy having them, but I sure am missing the ability to just look up at my screen. I'm kind of, I catch a glimpse of my phone and then I look up at my iPad to see what you're seeing, but that's not real time because I have to, waste for it to, whatever the delay is, what you guys are seeing. Okay, there's that. But yeah, so I was like, I got to get those printers connected to the Wi-Fi. The one was my color one, my Canon that I could actually do prints on. But I wanted my laser printer connected because if I just want to print something like a document, I don't want to waste the color in the one that I would print like an art print on. So I was trying to get that set up the other day and everything going on. I just kind of walked away. I just walked away from the studio. I was like, and I'm done. I'm not doing any more. I'm not worrying about what can connect or what can't right now. I'm not organizing another thing. I was so defeated. I just walked out and it has pretty much sat the same way. I came up to stream today and I was like, oh no, I still don't have a door on my studio because I took the door off my studio because I took a lot of stuff out of the studio. And I had, I wanted it to be easier because the way my setup was, I was having to walk around that door all the time and it was so frustrating. So I just took the door off the hinges and I was like, that's it. Well, Lou was like, do you want me to come put it back on for you? And yeah, so he came up and reinstalled my door real quick before the stream, which was very helpful because now he doesn't have to worry about what kind of noise is happening downstairs. Although I have no idea. I don't know what my iPhone picks up and what it doesn't. You guys might hear all kinds of stuff. Whereas my software was like, it had all kinds of noise canceling and you wouldn't hear anything going on in other parts of the house. Because every time something would happen and I would ask, everybody would say, nope, didn't hear it. But yeah. All right, we're just building up layers for the water here. And I still think I want to have like a tree or something up front. We're going to Bob Ross this thing. We're going to have like, I'm going to get this all set and you'll be like, ooh, ah. And I'm going to be like, and you know what? A tree lives right here. And we're just going to slap a big old tree in there. Today is all about nostalgia, right? Using our 1930s watercolor. I'm still getting reflections, those reflections in the water because I'm not painting over everything. And as we make our stroke and give a little extra pressure, right, and then lift up, we kind of get that like wave motion going on there. And when I stop to think about it, that's when I have issues. But if I don't think about it and I just kind of make the strokes, just let it happen, it looks a lot more natural. It looks a lot better to me. I mean, this can be just complete trash, and that's fine because today's not about a masterpiece. Today is about relaxing, looking at these paints, and just me being happy that I'm actually still able to stream and hang out with you guys. That's looking a little bit more like water. All right, so now I think I want to actually dilute this a bit more. We're going to brighten this up. Not quite that bright. Now I've just gone too far. All right, we're going to lighten that up. More water. And then I'm going to take that big brush again, because I was noticing before when I went over here, let me adjust that, on the edge, like I tried to wet so that that could soften up and blend out. I didn't want to do that too easily. So I know that now that I've put these marks down with this paint, I'm going to be able to glaze over the top and not too much of this is going to move. And that's what I want to do. I just want to take some of this blue. Let me get this wet. I want it to be a soft edge. There we go. You guys can actually see my water pot now. It's still like it was last week. I did not take it down and scrub it. So it looks really dirty, but that water is actually clean. It's just the pigment that's on the porcelain that needs washing. It's fine. All right. Let's get some more stuff in our foreground. I'm gonna have to dry this again. So I'll do that real quick. All right. Look at that. Can you see the granulation? Is that showing up? I hope that's showing up on the screen. There's like some really cool granulation happening over there with that green and that brown. That brown's got to be a PBR 7, I would assume. But the green on top just looks like it is just granulating in such a interesting way. Is that coming through? I hope so, because it's really pretty. I'm looking at what you guys are seeing as it's coming through on my iPad, and I'm like, it's really not. It's really not translating so much. I mean, you can see a little bit, but yeah, that's okay. I think I actually still like it up. If you guys can see it just fine, I'm going to leave it tipped up. And I also think I'm going to grab, because I actually have it. Oh no, I don't have it. Oh, I've moved everything in my studio, and some things haven't come back in here yet. I was hoping that my Daniel Smith gouache was going to be right beside me where it always is, and I forgot. Oh no, you took that out and you put something else in its place. So now I don't really have, I don't really have that that handy. Oh, but you know what I do have? Oh, thanks, Stop and Soul. Thanks for stopping by. Have a good day. I do have my water soluble crayons. Let's use some of these. We're going to bring these in, and I wanted these handy. So the reason I started redoing some stuff in the studio was so that I would be able to do exactly what I'm doing now. If I decided, hey, I want to grab something else to work with, then I would have it handy. And I'm trying to make more of my supplies handy. And I love this. This is the entire, like, the 84 set. They fit this little box that I got from the Dollar Tree. It came with, like, a wood lid. And I took the lid out. I put pieces, I don't see if you can see that, but I put little pieces of, like, that was old offcuts of watercolor paper. And I just cut them and put them in between, like, each row. And I put some paper towel, if I can do this without spilling them, in the back to just kind of hold everything snug. And yeah, now they can all sit in this one little tiny, they take up a very small footprint. So I like that. I will not be growing this collection because I'm not doing that. I won't get into the whole Karen Dosh ordeal, but I'm very put off. And, but that's just my opinion. And yeah, I have them. I will definitely use them, but I'm not adding colors. That box will not get filled up any more than it is. Maybe buy some other. I do have other similar product that I may add in with that, but I wasn't joking. We're going to Bob Ross this up. I think that this will work. Why not? I think it needs to live right about here. All right, let's just start and bring down a happy little tree that's going to live right over here. And we're just going to sketch this in. I think it's going to go out like that. Because why wouldn't it? I'm just picturing a larger, I'm just kind of setting in the skeleton for, I'm going to put some leaves on this tree. And I don't need to see every bit, but I need to have an idea as to where these branches are going to go. Perhaps it's split right there. All right. And I know a lot of you follow Lindsay as well and her Whimsy Wednesdays. You'll find me in the chat over there on Wednesdays. Come by and say hello if you don't normally stop over. And she's really been encouraging, like, use your supplies, use these things that are sitting there that maybe we don't always grab and use. And that's where I was headed this year. Was one of my goals was to get the studio reset and start using some of these things other than just watercolor. And really enjoy them. Enjoy my supplies. Enjoy what I have here. I'm going to grab some water and let's see if we can't just activate this a little bit. And I think so much, like we see so much on YouTube. I'm guilty myself being influenced with supplies that I see that look so interesting. And then we get them and they go, sometimes we dive right in, right? And sometimes they get set on a shelf where they sit because we sit down to create and we kind of grab old reliable, right? We grab those things that we love to use, that we know how to use already. We know it's going to bring us joy, and that's kind of what we go to. And then those things that inspired us when we saw it, inspired us enough to purchase them. I think we need to make sure we're making the time to use those things. And I say we, but I'm trust me, I am pointing 4 fingers back at myself here. I too definitely am guilty of that. Especially when I was cleaning out the studio to reset. There were a couple things that I found that I was like, huh, I don't remember getting that. I didn't know that I had those. One of them being a set of soft pastels, which I was thrilled to find. I'll be sharing those with you soon. We're going to be doing some pastel stuff here in the very near future because, as I've told you guys, I am very excited about that right now. I am loving the medium. I took advantage of Blick's liquidation sale. Again, once the stream is done, I will copy and paste from the original stream that I started today. All the information is over there right now, but I will copy and paste all of that into the description so that you have all of that information, but in a link directly to the sale that I'm talking about. But I think it's not the easiest to find on the website. So anyways, I will relink that. But I got great deals. I got some surfaces. I got those Posca pastels. I really got a lot of, mostly I got surfaces. There we go. Anchor our tree right there to the ground. All right, now let's get some leaves on this. It's going to be fall time. So we're just going to grab, right? We're not worrying about painting every leaf here. We're just going to start putting in some color. And now that I have my branches in place, like I know where those leaves need to live. And leave some space. Make sure the birds have spots to fly through. See, right now we're just like scumbling on some color. I'm going to do a variety here. Really bring in the fall colors. If I had my pastel drawers already set up, I would certainly probably grab some of those because I think that would be so much fun on top of watercolor. I'm looking at getting into a little bit of mixed media. So if that's something that excites you, that'll be coming. Let's add some red. Why not? I can get some darker values in here. The texture of the paper really goes a long way to help us. Man, that's really, the sun is setting. Let's get some yellow through some of these spots. Just gonna activating some of my darks first. I think I need to paint louder. I was I just got lost in it for a little bit. You have to let me know if seeing the studio once it's done. I plan on doing more on it this weekend. That is my hope. Now that I've kind of resolved myself to the fact that the computer is what it is, I am going to be working on getting the rest of things organized and brought back in here. And if you would like to see or have a little tour of how things have changed, definitely, if you're here during the live stream or if you're watching on the replay, drop me a comment and let me know. Is that something you want to see? Because I could do a recording and pop that up. Maybe make it a short. We're going to be testing things out. Again, I'm going to be doing everything with my phone and my iPad for a little while, so we'll see. But I'd be happy to try to make some of that work and share it with you. All right. I think I'm going to let that dry. Maybe come back with another layer afterwards and see how well those can layer up on top of this. Trying to decide what else I want. I need some grasses in here. All right, we need some more texture. Just gonna do some mark making. And perhaps we'll put some of these colors down here on the ground. I love how this is really matching what I already had there. I feel like right about here, this spot maybe is a little more sandy or dirt. I think all the people who come up to this little lake, maybe they walk up right here to go fishing. Right, that's a good spot. Or they launch their kayaks right there. Maybe there's a few artists that like to come and sit along this shoreline and paint those mountains in the background. I would be the one that tries to paint that entire scene. Lindsay and Karen would like quickly identify some gorgeous other part, zoom right in on that, and I'd be sitting there going, I think I can get this whole scene done in the time we're here. I can't usually, no. I try. Let's suggest, right? And the wind blows. There could be leaves from that tree all over this ground. So we're just going to suggest that. And maybe I need some color back here, because why would this one be just blaze orange and way out there there'd be no color showing up? So we're going to just pop a little bit in. And again, I'll put a little bit of these colors back here. I'll activate these. I'm just putting a tiny bit. I'll activate those in just a moment. I'm quickly turning this into a fall landscape. Boo Peep says storage ideas and tips are always good. Man, you're not kidding. I would love some storage ideas because I am struggling with how I am making this space work. All right, I'm going to dry that real quick. Okay. Doesn't seem to be layering up too much more. A little bit, but I think I lost a lot of spots for my birds. Sorry. All right, we're just going to leave it. We're going to leave it like that. Again, we weren't setting out to make a masterpiece today by any means. But I love that we could use those watercolors. 1930, 95 years old. That's something. So that was the color that I used down here. I'm just bringing it elsewhere in the painting. It looks a lot lighter when it's activated. Kind of like the color of, I like the color it was before it was activated. I may have to come back on top, put some more of that dark and just leave it there. Yeah, I think so. Unless I can find a darker one. There we go. I'm just taking it off the tip of this one. This is umber. Here we go. I'm liking that much better. What do you guys think? Just trying to imply maybe some of that is showing through that part of the tree. There we go. Boo Peep says the colors don't seem to be fading much after you dry it. The colors from the palette, though, or the colors from the Neo color, or both. They're really not getting much lighter at all. That's wet now, so I don't want to put the crayon right on it. I'm going to drop some of this in. Put some separation there. Let's my brush is not wet enough to do that. I'm just flicking it right off the tip of the crayon to put like some spatter and texture in this little walkway. And of course that was too much. Lift that part off. And I'm going to cover. Just kind of pull them out. All right. A little bit too much water on my brush there. Just trying to add some more texture. Hopefully this angle was pretty good for you guys today to see everything. Please let me know. It's going to take a couple weeks, I think, to get everything adjusted and kind of dialed in as to what's going to work best. Constructive criticism, I appreciate. People being snarky or rude, I do not. I mean, there's a way. As my father always used to tell me, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Because I'm definitely not going to let this stop me. It's just a setback, and we will get it squared away and we'll get it figured out. But I do have to wait until at least when the new systems come out, because I am not going to buy one of last year's. I went into, oh my gosh, I went to Best Buy because I was like, maybe the Geek Squad can help me out. Yeah, no, they can't. Maybe if it was a PC, but they were like, nope, sorry, we would have to send it to Apple. And I was like, well, heck, I can do that. I don't need a middleman. And then while I was there, I kind of went and looked at what they had as far as for the MacBook, the Pros and the Studio and stuff like that. And oh my gosh, they had like M2 chips in the store in their Mac Studios. And I'm like, they're already on the M3 Ultra, and the M4 should be dropping as far as the Mac Studio goes. That's what I'm referring to. And I'm like, that's 2 generations behind. Why would I ever invest? And it is an investment for me. Why would I ever invest in technology that's already outdated? So yeah, needless to say, nothing was happening there. And the prices did not reflect that it was aged technology either, which I was just like, there's no way. There's just no way. So we'll get there. It'll be all right. I just need everybody's patience in the meantime as we kind of go along. There we go. I'm liking the addition of the Neo colors to it. I'm glad I had those back in the studio and sitting there. What do you guys think? "95-year-old watercolors." Yes, even at 95 years old, you can still use your watercolors. Look at those. And again, this is metal, this divider. Like, I could take that out and these would actually like fall through. It'd be really easy to pop those out, but use this for something else. But I just think it needs to stay in its home. They're gorgeous. I'm so excited to have this. The Copycat paint box from 1930, made by the American Crayon Company, Sandusky, Ohio, New York, made in the USA. Anybody else have this? Anybody else? Let me know in the comments if you also. I know who was it? Was it Boo Peep that has it? Oh my gosh, forgive me guys, because now I'm trying to remember who it was. Oh, it was Betsy Paints. Yes, Betsy Paints. Betsy Paints already has this palette, but does anybody else? I'm really curious. Do you like to collect vintage art supplies? And if you do you try to use them? I definitely think That was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me. Again, thanks for bearing with me in the beginning of the stream. We did have to reset, but we've got it. I'll get it down. I'll get it figured out. Again, not a masterpiece. I didn't think it would be. I just wanted to play. We had to Bob Ross it up and put a big old tree right there in the middle of it. Why not? I hope you guys enjoyed it. Next week, I'm not sure what we're going to be using next week, but it might be some pastels. We'll have to see. So it just depends on how much space and how this studio comes together over the weekend. So stay tuned for that. If you're interested in seeing what is going on in the studio, let me know. Like I said, I can always do a quick video tour. Again, it would be with my iPhone, but that would be something I could just film and then share, so it wouldn't need much editing. So that would be an easy way to get you a video showing that. If you are interested in being a channel member or a patron, those links are definitely in the description below. And come join us on Discord. It's a lot of fun. You get a lot of behind the scenes things. I'll probably be sharing photos there behind the scenes kind of as I go along with the rest of cleaning the studio. So you're going to get the first look if you are on Discord, and all tiers have access to that. So even if you are the lowest membership here on YouTube is just $2.99. It is a super fan. And that gets you access to Discord and all the behind the scenes stuff that I share over there. So I do hope you'll consider joining us. And until next time, my friends, I hope you enjoyed these 1930s watercolors. Keep creating. Let me know in the comments what kind of vintage art supplies do you have? Do you collect any? These were fun. I hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, bye guys.